Welcome back, students. In this class, we are going to write a C program how to print this pattern given any number of rows that the user wants. Now, in this case, if you were to see this pattern, this has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, and we are able to design this pyramid here. Now, how are we going to write a program to get the input from the user and be able to generate or print any such pyramid that the user wants? In this case, this pyramid has got 5 rows, but imagine the user wants to print 10 rows or 20 rows or 200 rows. What should we do? So we are going to study this pattern first. If you see this pattern, just before this particular symbol, asterisk symbol, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 blank spaces are there. In the second row, you got 1, 2, 3 blanks are there just before the starting of the first symbol. And in the third row, you got 2 blank spaces. In the fourth row, you got 1 blank spaces. On the fifth row, you got no blank spaces. So what I've got here is that I can clearly see that a formula taking place, number of rows minus number of the row. The blank spaces. First case, the number of the first row is 1. So we got 4 blank spaces, right? Now for the second one, of course, the number of rows is going to be standard 5 minus the second row, right? So place the number 2. So we got 3 blank spaces. Okay, that's what we see here, 1, 2, 3. So the next one, the number is 5 and the row number is 3, and that would give us 2 blank spaces. And for the fourth one, it's the number of the row is 4, so we got 1 blank space. Okay, and finally the number of rows are 5 and the row number is 5, so 5 minus 5 is going to be 0 blank spaces. So clearly we got a formula. So this is the formula that we would need to place the blanks. And next, coming to the stars. So we cannot make much from the first row, but from the second row we got 3 stars. For the third row we got 5, and for the fourth we got 7. For the fifth we got 3, 6 and 9. So consider the final one. So we got 9 stars there, right? But this is row number 5, and just previous row we got 7 stars there, but that's row number 4. Does it signal anything? Does it signal a mathematical formula? Say for example, the fifth row is nothing but 2 times row number minus 1. Okay, so what does that give you? Row number for the fifth row is nothing but 5, and I subtract 1 and I would be getting 9. So that means there are 9 stars, right? So the fourth row, let us consider the fourth row. The fourth row is equal to 2 times row number minus 1. So in this case it's going to be 2 times row is 4, subtract 1, and that's going to be equal to 4 times 2, 8 minus 1, 7. So for the third row, it's going to be 2 times of 3 minus 1, which is equal to 6 minus 1, which is equal to 5 stars. That is exactly what we have got. So for the second row, is going to be equal to 2 times is the row number is 2 minus 1, which is equal to 4 minus 1, which is equal to 3 stars. That is exactly what we've got. Of course, for the first row, which is equal to 2 times row number is 1, we subtract 1, and that's equal to 2 minus 1, which is equal to 1 star. So we have actually now obtained a mathematical formula to calculate the stars. So that mathematical formula can be written as follows. So to obtain the stars, it's going to be 2 times row number minus 1. Okay, so I've got to incorporate these two mathematical formulas. Students, we are going to be writing this program to generate the pyramid for any given row size. So foremost, we have to have these two libraries for this program. So I'm not going to do anything with that. So let it stay as it is. But we would now start off with the main container. So int main, and then move down, open the parenthesis, and then we would need the following variables. So I would need the variable to be of integer type. Okay, so this is going to be my variable. I need another variable for the for loop, so it's going to be rows. I need one more variable to print the empty spaces, so it's going to be empty space. Okay, and then I need another variable. I can just write it as empty space. Another variable to print the symbol, so it's going to be asterisk symbol, and then place the semicolon. So these are the variables we would be needing. I want the input from the user, so it's going to be printf, enter the number of rows you need. So place a backward slash and an n, come out of it, a termination symbol, and now you need to get that input. So it's going to be scanf, open the parenthesis, open the code, place the percentage sign, and then D, and then move out of the code, place a comma, and we need to receive that input. Okay, that input is going to be the total number of rows that the user requires. So place the ampersand and that variable name, total number of rows. Okay, and then come out of that parenthesis, brackets, place the termination sign. Now I just want to show you that this code runs. So for that, what we got to do is just check it out with the return statement. Okay, return 0, colon, compile it. So no issues there, run it, and you can see the enter the number of rows. Say if I were to enter 7, it will take in 7. Okay, so that's fine. Now what we have to do is we would have to start the for loop. So this is the starting for loop. So it's going to be for. The variable here is rows. Okay, so for rows is equal to 1, comma, rows being less than equal to the total number of rows. So this is going to be the parent for loop. Increment the variable of the for loop. Okay, now this has to be placed within a block because we need two other for loops. The first one, we print empty spaces. Okay, so let's start that for loop. So for empty space is equal to 1, semicolon, and this empty space is less than equal to total number of rows minus the row number. So it's going to be the for loop variable. So this I want to place this in a parenthesis. Okay, and the empty space has to be incremented. Okay, so empty space is incremented, close the parenthesis, and then move on. Now we have to print it, right? So print f. Now I want to show you one small trick. I wouldn't say a small trick, it's an indicator. So I place the printf statement there and then semicolon. And now the next statement is to print the symbols. Okay, so we need a for loop for that. For asterisk symbol equal to 1 colon asterisk symbol is less than equal to, it's going to be 2 times the row minus 1. Okay, so I want to place it within this curly parenthesis. So 2 times the rows. This is the variable that we use for the parent for loop. Okay, and then we have to come out of it and subtract 1. So this is how it's going to be. Okay, and then followed by semicolon, and asterisk symbol has to be incremented. Okay, that's fine. Let us check. That looks okay for me. And now I come out of it and then I print f, the symbol, place the terminator, the semicolon, and then it has to have a new line. So print f, semicolon, and then the block is complete, and now I got the return statement. Let me check this one more time. So I've declared total number of rows. This is for the for loop, empty space. These are my variables. The type is integer. I get the input from the user. Enter the number of rows you need. The type is integer, so we need to have a percentage symbol there with a D there. I take the variables input, total number of rows. I start the parent loop for rows equal to 1, rows less than total number of rows, and then row size is incremented. I'm printing the empty spaces for empty space equal to 1, empty space less than equal to total number of rows minus the row number. That's the variable for the for loop. Empty space is incremented. I print the empty space, and then coming to the next one to print the symbols. So this is going to be asterisk symbol is equal to 1, asterisk symbol less than or equal to 2 times row minus 1. Asterisk symbol is incremented. I print the asterisk symbol, I leave a space, and I complete the block. I return, and then I complete the parent block. Now let us compile it. I have no issues. I am running it, and it's asking me for 5 to give the input. I start with 5. I want to check the pattern first. You see this, what are we getting? We are getting a right triangle. So there are 2 things we got to know here. We are not exactly getting a pyramid, but we're getting a right triangle. So let me run it one more time, okay, for a bigger size. Maybe for size 13. You see that I'm getting a right triangle. Now, why are we getting the right triangle? Can you find the mistake in the code? Why are we getting the right triangle? So I give you maybe 10 seconds for you to find why are we getting a right triangle. So there are 2 things you can learn from this. First thing is how to generate a right triangle, right? Given an input from the user. The next thing is how to avoid getting a right triangle. There are 2 things you can learn from that, from this particular information alone. So where did we go wrong? In fact, the place that is creating the problem is over here. We have just placed a double quote, but we did not give a space. Okay, that is the issue. You see how sensitive the language is. If we slip even a slightest dot, it is an error. So we run it now. We say 5, we get the pyramid there. So I press another key, I want to run it again. Now I want to give 21 and I get a beautiful pyramid. I run it again. Now maybe I want to give 121. You see the beauty of it? This is the power of the C language. And that is a pyramid. In fact, the screen is, you see that? 121. So students, we will continue coding in the next class.